Yo, you are now rocking with Eff With Me show, numero uno. Number one. First jump off. This is fucking crazy. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I'm in Bushwick right now, and that's what we do here on this show. Keep it a little bit gritty, but definitely always fun. Got some great guests. Yo, first off, I want to share real quick, why the fuck do this fucking show, man? Like, what's the fucking point? You know, who cares? And you know, I'll say this, I care, and I think you're gonna care too. You know, and here's why. You know, there's a lot of amazing shows, but the one thing that we all miss is connection. And that connection can be between somebody that's famous and somebody that's fucking not famous. And that's what we fucking highlight here. You know, so if you just like, remember what it feels like to fucking connect with somebody, meet a friend, you're gonna fucking love this show. Alright, first guest. You know him, I know him, we all love him. He belongs to the scene. The one and only Sergio Vega joins me. We sat down in our undisclosed locations via video meeting to discuss a lot of shit about music, creativity, the BX, fun talk. My man Hector's a fucking dope tattoo artist, Heck Tattoo. You guys know him from the gram. You know him from hardcore. I love his pictures because he's living this fucking Cali life and I love it. I'm like, yo, I want to learn more. I need you to teach me about that Cali life. So we're going to talk Cali life. We're going to talk community. We're going to talk an amazing project he's involved in that Kevin Hart ended up showing up at Hill. Yeah, I don't know. Yo, we're going to talk to a guy a lot of you guys know. You know, he hangs with the models. He does his alternative music downtown and in Brooklyn. Brion Starr joins me for a segment that we got called On the Beat with Chaka Malik. We talk about punk. We talk about friendship. You know? And finally, I got a special surprise. We have a special surprise for you that we will save until the end. With that said, meet Sergio Vega. Boom. Ooh, oh! Yo, you're now rocking with Eff With Me podcast numero uno. Who I'm sitting with? Who am I sitting with?
Sergio Vega.
Damn. Yo, y'all know Sergio. I love Sergio. Y'all love Sergio. I met Sergio. I was a fucking teenager. I was in Queens. Where were you, Sergio?
I was up in the Bronx. And we were just talking about
where the people are fresh.
Where the people are fresh and pissed all the time. But like, we're just saying before that, my neighborhood technically had no name. It was right in between Bronxdale, Bronx River, and Parkchester.
Right.
And when I got into punk, it was a problem.
Okay, you know, tell us why. Why was it a problem?
Well, I had gone, as a kid, I was like into graffiti. I was painting trains. I was running around with guys like in Tats Crew.
Oh, shit. Okay, so Tats Crew.
And then started getting into like, I don't know what the hell it was. It was like, kind of like, not really freestyle. It was like, you know, like Information Society.
Oh, dude.
Like that. You know, used to go to like...
running away.
Yeah, like running. And it was like, not really loft music. It was like, not really Webo. It was like,
damn. It was like nascent everything.
But it was like the spot where, God, I don't know like why that, it's like such a micro genre or a micro aesthetic, but like,
okay.
You know, started going to a place called the Devil's Nest, going there. I got to see him.
What's the Devil's Nest? What is that? I heard of that. What is that?
The Devil's Nest was a little club in the Bronx, and I was, I think, 16 maybe, and you know, used to go there, and they basically, I think it was primarily Latin, but they played like stuff like Information Society, like all the kind of electro kind of stuff that that
were people dancing? What was happening in there?
Yeah, they were kind of like, it wasn't really like, I don't know. When I look back to trying to show my girl, you know, videos from that era, if you look up like Webo dancing and loft dancing. You're kind of sitting, they're kind of like, but it's a little bit later than that, but it's like an evolution of that kind of thing, where it's kind of like fluid. It's kind of like a lot of floor movement and stuff. But so I was going there and kind of like somehow started migrating into punk from that. And it feels like a tangent, but like you're already like a lot of the guys into that were like shaving the sides of their hair and kind of like
look like Turbo from Breakin', rest in peace, right?
Literally, but like one side, and then it was kind of like that, and it was and a little bit femme, to be honest.
A little bit what?
Femme. It was like a little, like a lot
androgyny.
Of it.
Androgyny was happening. Grace Jones, androgyny.
Yeah, it's like a little
Brigitte
of that.
Nielsen.
But then when I migrated into punk, all bets were off. Nobody was like, people were just like, "What are you doing?" You know, like we're not.
Who's people?
Literally, my friends were like, "We're not fucking with you." Like most of them were like, "We're not fucking with you," except for one kid who was like, he had introduced me into bands like the Police and stuff like that. And he was a dude from TAT named Nicer. And
okay, hell yeah.
He was like the only dude he was the only dude that was like, yo, you know, this is cool. It's like, cool. You know, do you?
Nice.
But everyone else was like, I don't know, bro. Like, you can draw, but we're not going to hang out with you.
All right, so then, cool. Go ahead, sorry.
So, which was cool, because what was cool about it was that it forced me downtown more, because even though I was trying to go to CBs and trying to find things and like, whatever, I didn't, without that push.
How did you know what a downtown was and how to get there? What is that?
Oh, I knew that from, I mean, like, as even younger.
What is downtown?
My downtown, you know, Lower East Side or the West Village. My mom used to go down there and take us shopping and stuff. And so I remember seeing like punks from being even younger.
Right.
And I knew about CBs like from my cousin who had gotten me into being a musician.
Nice.
So like I knew to go down there. I had been to CBs. People were telling me about CBs. I had already gone, but on the wrong nights. You know, I was just going on any night and trying to understand.
Do you remember who you saw that night on the off night? Did you go in?
Nah, it was just like bar bands. You know, because it was like go to CBs.
Like a regular kind of, and we always forget that it was that CBs had a lot of those nights too, which made it
it was primarily that.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't like, you know, I mean, hardcore matinees were there because they threw people a bone, and it was like at the worst time of the week when nobody was going to do anything anyways.
That's an amazing point. By the time I was fucking around with CBs, it was only to go to the matinees. Like
because that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. And then but it was cool, you know, like it forced me downtown, and being downtown until I met Gingy up in the Bronx, you know, like I didn't have anybody, you know, it was kind of just starting over.
Okay.
And I was forced into making a whole new group of friends, which is awesome.
How do you do that? How do you do that as a kid from the Bronx? Did you have both side shaped, one side? What'd you have? What'd you look like?
I think I was like kind of had a mohawk and stuff, you know. Well, I found Danceteria first. I forgot about Danceteria. Like I found Danceteria.
Tell us about that.
And Danceteria was like, I guess, a 4-story club in the 20-something street.
Yeah.
And
why was it important? Why was it important, real quick?
For me?
Yeah.
Because they had a floor that was, at the time, I thought was punk, but it was really goth. And and they were playing videos all the time. You know, and I used to go by myself, literally. So I would go walk, just kind of hang out.
How old? What was your age?
17.
Wow. Okay, keep going.
And then I got a lot of my first records from the videos that I saw. Like I saw Susie and the Banshees. And then I remember, like, I talk about this girl I'd never met, but like she had an MC jacket with a bunch of bands painted on it.
Okay.
And
hell yeah.
And I saw her a couple of times, and
what bands?
I remembered all the band names, and I bought all the records. Dude, I had no orientation.
That's how I bought Black Flag Damage. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, that was, so while I'm thinking I'm in the Bronx, like, yeah, I'm totally punk. And literally I was like buying like Batcave Records.
Oh, hell yeah.
Alien Sex Fiend and The Cult. And that's how I got Cure Records and stuff like that.
Sure.
I met nobody at that place. I wasn't like being social or anything.
Right.
But how I met my first friends was walking around kind of like St. Mark's Place.
Yep.
And these two kids were like bumming, for change. Mm-hmm. And I bought them a pizza with my allowance.
Bam. There you go.
And then that was it.
I like that.
And then that was my first two friends.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Everything.
The gift of charity.
Off of that.
The gift
I was like, yeah, I got some money.
Dude, look at it.
Thankfully.
Look at it. Look at that flash forward real quick. We're going to go back, but look at just the simple gift of charity opened up your world, and now you're
for sure. Without those things, it's like without those things, I don't know how life could have been different. I just in terms of like, if I was accepted in the Bronx, would I have felt the need to come downtown or to that extent?
And if you weren't accepted downtown at a certain point within your adventures, maybe you say, fuck it, I'm abandoning downtown.
And downtown, everyone was open. People were just nicer,
Right.
It wasn't like, I think the thing about
it was
that
easy.
World is it's pretty easy in the sense that like everyone is going through so much shit, and just for kind of how they look and at that time, especially, it wasn't like cool to be that way in a larger sense. And people were coming mostly from outer boroughs and having to deal with all the hassle of getting there. So I think that by the time they made it downtown and were hanging out, they were just
becomes a power spot.
You're just stoked to like, you're gonna be nice because you have enough grief in your life. So
and think about a bunch of people walking around feeling that way and letting that energy flow outward.
Yeah, it feels cool. I mean, oh God, I wish I was better with names, but they were the two people I met. It was like the girl's name was Margot, and she was good friends with Janeth. Okay. And then the guy's name, I forget, but he had a boombox. Nice. And he used to just play like cassettes of like Bad Brains
or something.
And Bad Brains. It was like Bad Brains and things like that. And
oh my God, I love that.
And we just kind of would walk around, and then they had a friend called Louis the Bum, who was literally like a homeless dude who was like alcoholic bum, and that was his self-professed name. And it just grew. Like they just introduced me to people they knew. They had been there a little bit longer than me. Right. So through that, I just,
that oddly makes sense now. I feel that from thinking about snapshotting back to kind of when I met you, and your vibe was, I feel like you've always been one of these, at that point when I met you, a very scary gentleman as well. Not a demure person by any stretch. I thought you were scary, but I also thought that you were very open. And I think that anybody that I'll talk to would share that you have a wonderful openness. You have a wonderful breath about you. You have a good breath about you. So
I know you've had a similar experience. You're coming from Queens, like to get from point A to point B, and people are just kind of like in a world that is so
constricting.
Like anything that's outside. Now it's all cool.
Yeah.
So now
does that mean? So is it cool anymore now? Is it cooler to be now? Is it cool to dress in something different now? Because
that's a good question. I think it depends on the person. Like you did a post the other day about like, oh, your hardcore might not be my hardcore, or this, things like everything.
That Toby hit me on that, and I played it. I posted it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer that everything is contextual to the individual. So like, and what it is and what it takes you to get to your thing is going to be yours.
Yep.
So like, I don't think it's as important, like if somebody wants to have a certain look or a certain aesthetic, listens to a certain thing, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't come with a threat factor anymore. It doesn't matter. Those things don't really matter. Those kind of
don't exist. Like I remember being on the train and looking for Doc Martens or a flight jacket or a hardcore looking printed, even a DIY looking screen printed shirt. But now all those things can be found by anybody. So what's the cost of entry from a fashion standpoint?
I don't think that there is, but I think that I don't know that it matters.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just it naturally just kind of.
It just I feel as though I know that like I do know people who are like very much adhere to like I guess more orthodox versions of an aesthetic, or like punk, or like this and that. I think that's cool, and I think there's a place for that. And a lot of things are online. And I think there are people now who are like the first time I went to Japan, I bugged out because it was like everything was so like thrown in a blender or not, you know, it would kind of like, you'd see a band and it'd be like, this guy's a death metal guy with a ska girl with a hip hop dude and a this. And at the time I was like, this is so bizarre. These people are not.
They didn't get the genre mixing.
This is not like, what the fuck are these people doing? And then it's like, and then now it's like, of course, why would you like what is anything, you know? I don't know. I think that's.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's for the better. I just think that's all.
Of course, it's for the better. And you said genre mixing. And I want to like kind of like unpack that a little bit because I feel like especially coming from the health food store environment that you were in and around and a part of at different health food stores. Would you work at Sunrise or something else? One of those? Would you work at
Sunrise and Whole Foods? I was like early Whole Foods.
Early Whole Foods, like so. We always kind of had.
Oh no, Integral Yoga, dude.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right. So think about when the kind of musical thing kind of expanded out to say there's now going to be a mental and thought aesthetic around kind of what we talk about. We're going to be socially responsible in a different way, but we're still going to kind of use these heavy tones, right? And I think that kind of energy just ties through everything we do. Why do you think that movement is that movement that has to happen? Do you have to do it? Does someone else have to do it? Is it better if we don't do it? Tell me about that.
Wait, do it in regards to
let's take as you start with the fashion going downtown and your aesthetic changes a bit as you go from the Bronx and as you go deeper and deeper and deeper into punk. By the time I met you, you didn't look like somebody that had just started going downtown, right? So I'm saying as those genres intertwine, which I think punk is now, punk is just literally whatever the fuck you want, in my opinion. And that is the putting together of those things in your own way. So I'm saying is from a subculture standpoint, this might be a big question, right? I hope it is, because otherwise why bother? What makes you decide you want to be in the forefront of that with the music you're doing? Is that just because that's who you are?
I think for myself personally, I don't think there was ever the thought of like, for the things that I do in my life, I'm not really like an attention seeker. But it's like everything I've chosen to do.
The man with the mohawk.
Otherwise, it would all say
the man with the mohawk. So you're not an attention seeker,
right? It's like I don't want any attention. It's like, but everything I do draws attention, and then I'm like baffled. But I think that for myself, I think that's kind of like where I feel like my parents kind of come in the mix in that they were just like artists. My mother is like an artist, and so kind of I was always just pushed towards some sort of like expression. You got to do something creative, and that's your worth. And with that being said, I never, especially if you're getting into punk or hardcore at that time, you're not thinking about it as a career move. You're kind of like figuring. You're thinking about it in terms.
But as an idea, your career, you're taking it on as part of your identity, which obviously becomes your career at a certain point, right?
Which is funny because sometimes being a musician and for a living is like, they think that was like a goal or a dream, and and kind of like I think I achieved my goal or my dream just doing a band downtown. Because I didn't really have a goal or a dream other than being a part of like this thing. And I guess it was always that. Like I was more concerned about fame as a graffiti writer because that was the objective.
Right.
It was like the objective is to be famous within your world and also to be good.
Right.
And in punk and hardcore, like I just wanted to play and be part of this thing. And then, coming out of the type of punk bands I liked, they were always like the more political peace punk bands. So having
like who shoot a few of them off. Who are they?
Crass, Conflict, Rudimentary Peni, Flux Pink Indians, Amoebics, who are not so much. So they're kind of nice. I don't know what they are, but that was like my favorite of the bands.
They got some heavy shit.
I think they're like Pink Floyd of punk. They have synths.
Accurate.
They have synths, long songs, long instrumental passages. But I think they're the best. But so I guess having some sort of something social is part of it, and just being creative and adding to the conversation. But that's about it, right? You just kind of do it. I think that's the thing. Like, we're here to kind of like affirm each other.
Yes.
We're here to like pick each other up.
Yes.
And also here to push people a little bit, like your friends, and make sure that people are okay, or make sure that, sometimes, bump heads with people.
Yeah.
But for a positive, and not to like just drag people. But, I think that was the role. And I think for us, we are fortunate in that the things that we believe in and the things that we ascribe to just grew.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, it just grew because it was right. It was right. It didn't.
Wow. That's kind of deep, man. Fuck.
It didn't grow by accident. It wasn't arbitrary. It's grew because it was right. And now you see people do things that are common now that we were doing 20, 30 years ago. And it's like, because it was the right fucking thing to do. Yeah.
That's a very interesting point. All right. So you're downtown. I mean, are you going to, like, when did you start sleeping downtown? How'd that start to work out?
Jerry Williams.
Okay.
So Jerry Williams is like the dude who is like, kind of like, I don't know if he was like a mentor. He was an inadvertent mentor in that, like, he was like 20 years older, raw food vegan.
Yeah.
Producer, engineer. He recorded like Cro-Mags, Bad Brains, and Antidote, and to name a few. And, we used to go by his place, hang out. And he turned me, and then by that point, like, I'm hanging out with Gingy, we're going downtown all the time. And he turned us on to bands that we just hadn't heard. But it was more like actually classic rock.
Right.
So from punk, like, I heard bands like Led Zeppelin and things like that through him. And he turned us on to King's X when it first came out.
Nice.
He was like, we were messing with, by then already, like starting with bands, and he turned me on to Drop D tuning. He's like, there's this tuning. I never even conceived of the idea that there was multiple tunings. He's like, yeah, you could take the E string, tune it down to D. And I was like, whoa, this is so crazy.
I never conceived that. That's amazing. Sorry, keep going.
I didn't think about it. I mean, like, I took
game changer, right?
Yeah, I took music in junior high school or high school, whatever.
Yeah.
In junior high, I was in like an orchestra. So
what were you playing?
Bass.
Oh, bass in the orchestra. Upright bass or regular?
Upright bass. I mean, that's kind of why I was like, all right, I play bass.
That makes sense now. Because you do a very slidey, you have a slidey thing, kind of a...
I mean, that's mostly amoebics, to be honest. My bass style is mostly amoebics. But playing bass was because I played bass in orchestra when I went downtown. Like, they're like, oh, do you play any instruments? I was like, yeah, sure, I play bass.
There you go.
I mean...
What was your first band? First band?
Trauma, which is like, I think... Trauma with Johnny G String or John Guzman or John.
Oh shit, John Guzman. Shouts to John Guzman. Okay.
But it was kind of like, I think it's I don't know if a lot of people's, but first bands where you're getting people who are already in bands and they're kind of doing like, they'll play with you if they get to try a new instrument out or if they get to do something different.
Where are you rehearsing? Where do you rehearse for Trauma for those shows?
What's the name of that place on 14th Street? Giant Studios or something? I forget the name of it. The place,
wow.
It was like the hourly rehearsal place where it was like, it was super inexpensive. It was pretty cool.
That's amazing. So from Trauma, what was your next band?
Irate with Tommy Carroll, another band full of people in bands.
I love Irate. I had a video of that one show at CB's.
I mean, that lasted a couple of... It was funny because, with like Tommy Carroll, going from being straight edge to like Rastafarianism. Yeah. And then the guys in Straight Ahead kind of like were like, yeah, we can't, that kind of kills the whole thing. And then we were there and I just remember people not particularly liking it, and Jerry Williams running around. Jerry Williams, he was like wearing doinks and running around stage like
short shorts. He had short shorts.
The shortest shorts, and he was just on another wavelength, and And I think it was cool. I think it was cool because he's like a lot of people's. He created the sound that a lot of people copied, or or recorded the bands that a lot of people copied. But aesthetically on stage, I think that everyone was trying to be so cool and so posed and he was running around like on some whole other shit. Like
those songs sounded good. So from My Rate to what's next?
Maybe Collapse. And all these bands, it's funny to think about how
was Collapse before? No, wasn't that you played in some Absolution before Collapse? No,
Collapse first, and then they merged and became Absolution. It's kind of like anything I touched at that time lasted a couple of months and then ended.
Yikes!
Nothing lasted long.
I want to intro. I want to quickly, and I want to get some quick gingy stuff in here. I just remember. So I worked at a store for Prana Foods. All the hardcore kids went there. And I just remember there was a tag in the bathroom that said Absolution in third gear. And I was like, oh my God, this is because I was like the biggest fan. And that meant that you were like coming to join the band. And I just remember seeing everybody be like being so fucking excited. What can you share us quickly about you and Gingy and you guys' kind of friendship at that time?
I think it was cool. And I think when I look back at it, I don't think we had a chance to really talk about it so much, but it was uber pretentious. I think we were so pretentious. And, that took me a long time to shake. Being living in your head and being all super imaginative and then coming downtown from the Bronx with your own, with honestly, like being new to it, but like having the gall to conceptualize it and talk about how you're going to change it and do these things when you're just like a noob, and then like us living together, like, and then getting in this feedback loop of like all these crazy things and amazing things. And I think, I dare say I never really talked to Gavin about it, but I'm sure we must have annoyed him because he was just like, yeah, like I got these songs, we got Absolution, just sing in the freaking band, you play bass, like call it a day. Right. But like Gingy and I are in our house or in our apartment, like, yo, this is the thing. And we're turning everything into a freaking myth. Right. It's like not that complicated, but like the third gear and how we were going to mold these two bands and it was going to be some whole other thing like freaking Voltron. It ultimately wasn't that heavy. And I think that the weight of the pretense kind of killed it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because we go to Gavin, like after, our idea was like, yeah, it's going to be the rhythm section from Collapse with Gavin and Gingy, and it's going to be, that's fourth gear and all this stuff. And it's like, bros, like, it's cool. It's cool to be that imaginative and that romantic. Right. But it was seriously not. And, I sometimes feel like I should probably apologize to Gavin because I was like, he was never even part of the conversation. We had this all figured out. Right. And John, Quicksand, none of these guys had any kind of, anything. They didn't have any say in this. We go to Gavin, like, it's formed and we're going to drop all the music and start again. And Gavin's like, fuck this. He's like, I'm good, bro. Like, right. Wow. Which I think is cool because everything has a purpose. Because the next thing you know, Burns existing. Yeah, absolutely. So that's right. That's right. That's good. That's actually good because Gingy and I were like, huh? It was like, yeah.
I don't know why I did that, but just I don't know.
I think it's great because it's just funny. I never, I don't think about it at the time. Gingy and I lived in this apartment and we were just being so high concept. Which I think is fun. I think it's fun to elevate things, like
absolutely ritualize things and give it power.
Give it power. I think I think that's really cool. But so the positive side of it is that you romanticize things, you elevate things, empower them, things that seem mundane. The negative side of it is that maybe you don't include the people who are actually participating in it in this grand vision of domination. So yeah.
It's always better. That's deep science. Deep science is right there. Deep science is right there. But deep science is definitely. These are deep sciences right now.
So at that point, Gavin's like, "I don't fuck with you." We're like, "Oh yeah, all right."
Wow. All right. So flash forward me. What happens next?
I think after some pause, I think Gavin introduces me to Walter.
Okay.
Because Walter and like Tom are trying to do a band, I think, that are like not, they want to break out of the pool of people that they've been around.
Okay.
So if my understanding's correct, Gavin like recommended me, and then I met those guys like that.
What did Walter say to you? How did he describe like him and Tom's intention at that time?
I don't really recall. I just think they just wanted to do a band. What I like about those guys is like they didn't come without they didn't come with all of that where Ginger and I were at that time of like, sitting there going to get into a full
little more humble about it.
Yeah, we're just like, yeah, we want to do a band, just get some, the way I understand it, paraphrasing it is like,
jam on some rips.
We want to do a band. We want to like, mix it up with just different people, and because they had a thing of, where they were kind of getting with cats that were like all their friends, they were like,
right. And that scene was very incestuous. I mean, you could flip over the records, 5-6 records, it's the same 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, so I think that. So if my understanding,
love the bands obviously, but that's just a phenomenon happening.
Yeah, if my understanding is correct, it was just an attempt to just kind of break out of that and kind of mix it up with different people.
Nice. It worked, right? It worked.
It was great. Yeah, it was great, and like I think that was cool because it felt like these, like, for me, especially being pretentious, just felt like, oh, like, here it is, coming from my world of the people that smoke weed and don't drink, to the people who are straight edge, and this is something, and like, kind of like, as if it was like the East and West Coast getting, like making up for their beef with Tupac and Biggie. It's not that heavy. But like in my mind, I elevated.
In a weird way, it was though, because there was a divide in the scene, not a spoken divide, but I mean, to your point, those guys said they wanted to play with somebody outside of their circle. You were going to those shows at the same time, so it shows that there were separate circles. So the merging of those circles is important. It's important,
I guess, but I think that they were a little bit just more mellow about it.
Right?
They were just cooler about it. It wasn't that big it wasn't so heavy. It wasn't so like, they didn't turn it into an epic in their minds. Right. But it was fun, and it continues to be fun. I still get to call those guys family. So that's awesome.
Fuck yes. Tell us something from recording that first Quicksand EP that maybe people haven't heard yet. Something that
I don't know if there's that much.
Tell me about when you were cutting your bass tracks. Like what was going through your mind either before or after when you were kind of laying this down?
I don't think I had much to recall because I don't have I didn't have any context. That was like really my.
You were living in the moment.
Recording. Yeah, it was like I didn't know. I was there with Don Fury, and we were in the basement. He had, I think, more of a history with Walter, and I think it was like to me just it was so new, and just I wasn't nervous. I was just like, it felt, I guess, natural. In a sense, it was just like, all right, here we are, record the tracks, do your thing, and it was only 4 songs. It was fun. I mean, like the Hypno Jam with Dan thing was fun, and I'm glad that was on the record because I had just recently discovered 6/8 as a time signature.
There you go.
And I was like, yo, cool. This whole thing is. It was like when I learned about Drop D. It was like, wow,
Yeah. Well, that's keep going.
So, no, that was it. I don't have like as much concrete memories about it. I feel as though probably Walter and Alan would. I think that I think for people like they have better retention, maybe. I don't know.
Right. So let's keep going along this pathway of like Sergio kind of stepping out of not his comfort zone, but stepping into a new circle, being adopted by a new group of friends in the downtown area, right? You didn't give them a slice of pizza, but they invited you to join this band. So you're in this band, right? And you're expanding your friend base within this band, and you're writing these riffs, and it starts to feel, for me at that point, like even though it obviously sounds like Sergio Collapse, you start to develop a sound, right? What were you kind of listening to that maybe helped you to kind of solidify your confidence around your playing? Tell us a bit about kind of your musicianship at that time.
I don't know that like I thought too much about like confidence or non-confidence. I just kind of felt like, all right, cool, we're doing it. But I think my inspirations on bass are it's like a short list of like Amoebics. At that time, also King's X.
Yes, hell yeah.
And there was a third. Oh, well, Sly and Robbie.
Boom.
So basically that, you know, like a combination of those three, you know, like comprises my bass playing.
How does that sound that you kind of established in Quicksand as a bass player? How does that begin to port over to the stuff with Deftones and kind of what you're doing now and your kind of use of effects?
Oh, I think well, the effect usage I think came like from like the more shoegazy bands, My Bloody Valentine and things like. I mean, I always played with distortion, and I'm not sure what brought the phaser into the mix, but like everyone plays with distortion. Everyone had a rat pedal, and everyone, you know, primarily bass playing was with a pick, and then Tom, you know, introduced us to My Bloody Valentine, and that kind of really opened up that. So like My Bloody Valentine and those bands bring influence in a different way, not so much in like riffs or anything, but tones. So,
and was that the first time you really began to look at your? Did you just realize you had a tone, or were you now expanding your tone?
No, I thought it had a sound, you know, because like the sound was just like a heavy distorted bass. And something that was gnarly, and that's cool. And then I was like, oh, throw a phaser here, delays. And then at that time, it was two distortions, a phaser, and a delay. And then maybe I think a chorus or a flanger.
Okay.
And then that was kind of it. And but like for the shapes of the riffs and things like that was definitely coming from the three bands I mentioned before. You know, my Amoebics and King's X and Sly and Robbie. Really, really Black Uhuru. You know, like because they were like the heavy kind of like minimal. Yeah, so that stuff is really heavy, and you can really take those kind of riffs, and then if you listen to like kind of a lot of what Quicksand was doing, it's the same shapes and it's the same kind of sparse, but like bass is like something sparse but like integral. And I don't know, so just started playing with them later, you know, as you get better and like later you just start playing with more effects, and then I think in the time that Quicksand wasn't playing and before Deftones really like doing all the stuff I was doing, like the solo EP and Champions of Sound, and then you
let's
and
come
I
back
DJ.
to that. Let's do it now though. Let's I want to share some real quick. So this is after Quicksand. I'm living downtown. Sergio's living downtown. And Sergio and I would hang out. I'd go over his house. We'd have some coffee. Yeah. Hang out, you know, listen to some music or whatever like that. And he was began to share some music that he was doing, using kind of these 2-track loops that he would create and then playing over that. I mean, and that music's still some of my favorite stuff. What can you share about your initial desire to kind of use that kind of sound template in these songs, in those songs?
I kind of think like, for me, I saw what was happening, like living in New York and like how expensive things are. I kind of thought back then that I was like, okay, basically where things are going to go is going to be home recording. And that was way early on that. I was like, things are just going to be home recording.
Fuck yes, you were. Yeah.
And what's going to happen is it's going to be a drum machine, drum loops. People are just going to be playing. And they're going to be 2 people projects. And it was just clear to me because it's like rehearsal spaces are so expensive and so many bands fall apart for lack of instant return.
Yeah.
And it's very much like an inner city perspective or city perspective, because I know that in other states, they don't have the same overhead. So they probably won't have the same philosophy. But it was clear to me. I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be. And also a chance to develop singing was like, I don't want to, if I do it with people, it's going to be a pain. And, you know, that's a pain. And you just take my time, do it myself. And that was that. So I kind of cleared out a closet, got myself everything I needed and went to work. and just started with loops. Instead of even programming drums, I would just get really good loops and play over it. And that was exciting. And then I would, share that little by little. And even though I would get like, I get pretty good feedback, but I didn't have an outlet for it. It was a little early for someone to want to put that out. Like, I didn't see Revelation wanting to put that out at that time.
Right.
And it wasn't developed enough to try to go to use the pathways I had, from what Quicksand had done. And, so it just kind of like started over. I mean, there was also, the first band I think I did singing that where I had a lot of support was Fully with Joe Affey and Jimmy Williams.
Jim Williams.
And John. Again, John was back in the mix. And
Gusman.
Yeah. Oh, John.
Oh, killer. Yeah.
Because now he's like
Nausea in the house.
Yeah. So John from Nausea. And they were very supportive, And Jimmy's cool because Jimmy's really, all those guys are really talented.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's like super talented as a drummer at like kind of whatever he touches.
Yeah.
But he was supportive in my singing early because he was like, I know, he can sing. And he was just like,
great voice.
He's like, yes. He was straight up. He's like, it's not there yet, but I see that it's going to get there and we can do this, So I was like, thanks. Because a lot of people were like, yeah, you're not there. And I was like, whatever. Then I just stopped hanging out with them. Rather than like give up, I would be like, okay. If
that's annoying because and I'm going to open it up to kind of like inspiration and stuff like that. Like I remember that song. You had a song called "Champagne Wishes," right?
Yeah.
And you have a positive attitude, and obviously we're poets, but also people who go through things in life. I think the lyric was, "I got champagne wishes, and I don't even have a dime. Something, da, 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 da." And I love that song. I love the uplifting energy in it. But you could also see that you were like staking your fucking fork in the ground because you had been through a battle or something, or you were going through a battle. You were going through life, like all of us. And I think that your humanity forces the great voice out of you. That's the point. That your desire to be a good human being, the voice can't not come out.
And also just like the context of like figuring like it's something I wanted to do, and even on the first Quicksand record, like I tried singing on that some and thanks to Walter and everybody for creating the space to try. But again, it wasn't there yet, but they gave me the opportunity to try and stuff. And then having the time on my own, I really put a lot of effort into it. And it also like, it was also born out of necessity in certain ways. I was like, okay, if I do this, then it gives me a chance to protect certain ideas that may not live in other projects. So it's like
that's important for songwriting. It's a big deal.
It's like, oh, if you have these parts that nobody wants to do, but you believe in them, you could sing on
your
them.
voice, put your money put your music where your mouth is.
Yeah, just sing on them, and then you don't have to worry about somebody saying, I can't sing to this. You just do it. And then it also kind of helps. It helped me later because it's like, okay, like, working with Quicksand again, and then with Deftones, it was like, all right, I know these ideas can work because at home I can sing on them. So like if I present ideas, it changes how you write. And it also knows like, so any kind of things, parts or ideas or song demos I have, I've already messed with singing on them. And I just don't present that. And I just know that it's singable. So it's like, okay, it may not live.
Like fuckable, song is fuckable.
At least I know. At least I know. You can't tell me, oh, it's not singable. You can't sing over this. It's like, I know that that's not true. You may not like it. You cannot like it.
Yeah, and I think even sometimes, like I've had, I've been collaborating with someone shares a line with me that I don't really get, and they show me the counterpoint. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I do like that now, right?
Exactly.
Give me enough context.
Because that's the thing, and sometimes like it's that's a big thing, having perspective. And when you're working with people, it's fun. And that if you can say, hey, you can do this, even if a melodic shape doesn't live, if you present it, like you said, it opens up the thing. You go, oh, all right. And then that's happened to me often where you go like, oh, here's like a vocal idea if we're stuck, collaborating. And they go, oh, cool. that's not it, but it makes me hear this. And then
right,
they can do their thing. And I think that to me is really cool in like getting a song done.
Absolutely.
You know, like, because for me, it's just like, I think, you know, it's funny. Like, I think one of the I got so much inspiration from so many people, but like with Chris Traynor, one of the things he made me think of music as very more like blue collar and not to be so mystical about it. It's like get up and work and give it like an 8-hour
Chris
day.
Traynor from Orange 9 and Push Now and
and
also Champions of Sound member.
Exactly. Get up.
And you guys are re-releasing that record, right? That's coming back out.
Get up, make it cut. Actually, yeah. Oh, never released, but finally it's never really released.
That's a good point. You know, because I remember because I knew you guys, so I had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was super DIY. I mean, that was another thing that. I mean, Champions of Sound.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think Champions of Sound to me was like the fruition of the effort of where I thought things were going, and to a certain extent, it's not the only way things went. But when I saw bands like Fantagram and things like that, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen. Like that's a more realized version, but it's two people on a drum machine.
Right.
Go to town. I'm sure you sit in a bedroom and you're not spending money to rehearse.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? And look at us now. You got your rig in your place. I have my rig right here. Like,
boom. And
if I have an idea, I turn it on. Whatever time, turn it on. Go to town.
What's your favorite time to turn it on? What's your average time you turn it on? You start when you wake up?
No rhyme or reason. No, I don't have a set thing now. Like the only thing I have a set thing in our current like kind of like state is just working out. You know, work out like usually at 1:00.
Okay.
So it's like from 1 to 2, I take a couple of classes.
I'm gonna be on an exercise machine next to you, just like this. Like
just body weight. The only machine I have is a pull-up bar. We have a pull-up bar here.
Oh, cool.
And but there's no real set time. I just like have a guitar out and I have the rig set up, you know, like, and at some point in the day it has to go on.
Yeah. But
sometimes, you know, like what's cool is like it could be any time, and our hours are
flexy.
Yeah. So like sometimes at like midnight or something, if I haven't turned it on yet, I'll just turn it on and try. My thing is like, especially now with the new rig, because we just got a new setup. Okay. Before that, my computer was 12 years old, and it was so prohibitive that like it had to be really amazing to actually turn it on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would just record a riff on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah. But now it's like,
what took you so long to upgrade? Why were you so late to upgrade?
Because I overspend on gear, and I have too many things that I don't use. So I was like, okay, now the things have to have a tangible return, or I can't do it.
Yes.
And you can argue that like, well, you're
with this pedal, I'll do the swirling.
You should have the newest computer. You have, you're a musician, right? But like, for me, it was like I'm just demoing.
Yeah.
I'm just demoing. So like, if I'm demoing,
you can but you can do more than that, right? That's the point.
Well, technically, yes. But I had it in my head that I can't justify it because I'm not currently releasing anything off my laptop. Right. But at a certain point when things got used off of the laptop, and made it to the end result, then I was like, okay,
really?
Like little things like, just a part here or a part there is like, okay, rather than recapture it, just fly that in.
Right.
Boom. And I was like, okay, I gotta invest. Time to invest. Yeah. So I did it.
What do you got real for the nerds? What do you got? What is that? What am I looking at?
Mac Mini. Mac Mini with the new one with the late 2020.
What's that 2-unit black box on the shelf?
This?
Yeah.
That's Axe-FX Fractal Audio.
What does that do? Why do you have that?
It's a amp modeler. This is the one that
what can you do with it? Man, I never heard of
bass guitar. You play bass and guitar through it, and it models amplifiers and models speakers and models microphones and models effects. So you just build like a chain, like what would be an amp and a cabinet and a mic, and the space that it's in.
So you can get crazy with that thing.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I use this with Deftones and Quicksand, and you can do like, a lot of people use them, and most people that I see or that I had seen at the time were using them pretty much traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, oh, I here's a rig emulating my favorite whatever. You know,
right. Any tone or whatever it is or something.
Yeah, and then you can do that, and then but you can make chains and pedal chains and do routing that you may not have the gear for, you know, or that may create weird feedback loops or noise
in real life.
So like,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I kind of do both. You know, some of them are simple. Sometimes I can go online and say like, oh, what did David Gilmour use for this record? And then kind of like do a dive and find out. And if like I can make his pedal chain and use the amps and go to forums and say, oh, how do you emulate this particular pedal?
And people also put those are called profiles, right? It's called a profile.
They have files. Yeah. You can do.
And those people put those online so other people can kind of just download that. And
you just download them and grab them. Yeah. They have their own community, which I haven't really much invested in, but people do that, and they sell packs and they do things. People like engineers or producers can capture all of their equipment. So it'll model like your amps and your cabinets, and you can just basically record them, and it models what it would sound like.
So it sounds exactly like it, right?
In theory.
Right.
And
close enough.
People are happy with it.
Close enough, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. People are happy with it. And I'm also like, if it doesn't sound exactly like it, like, do we really care?
Does anyone know? Who knows? Who cares?
Who cares?
Right? Yeah. It sounds good enough. And that's a reflection of what you shared, where kind of music is headed towards this environment where you have, you know, maybe a duo kind of songwriter performance kind of thing. How did it feel to go from that expectation of the kind of duo piece into Deftones? What did that feel like?
It was fun. It was like, the initial thing was like fun. Like, it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I got nervous about like, oh, I should be good. You know, it's got to be good and live up. But at first I wasn't thinking about it. It was kind of just like, all right, let's go. Right. And with the idea of like, you know, I guess when I first got the call, my thought was like, okay, what can I do to be the most positive asset? Like, I want to just be like a game, you know? So,
yeah,
you know, just immediately just started, even though there wasn't necessarily going to be a reason for it, but just started working on writing and, you know, just playing a lot and just coming up with ideas and making sure that I had something to present and offer. So I was like, I just want to be a good value, you know, like in any project. And those guys are actually, they're just like super easy and kind of cool and collaborative.
Nice.
So it wasn't like, there wasn't any kind of thing about, as far as like writing is concerned, about protecting the thing or protecting whatever. Like when I met with them the first time, they were like, we love Quicksand, we love you, we've been friends forever, you filled in before, bring whatever you do, whatever that is. Since we haven't seen that happen, we're not sure what it is, you know, like behind it, but bring it. And I was like, awesome.
I love what you brought, and you got, you know, it's
thanks. It was, you know, it was really awesome, and they were very instrumental in supporting Quicksand's. So like just when the idea of like that even just surfaced to play shows with Quicksand, you know, they all jumped on the idea of like it should exist and play, and you know, which is cool because, you know, you not everyone would do that, you know.
Not at all. And
people would be like, yeah, you remember where bread, you know, puts butter on the bread. Butter's your bread. It's vegan, but it's still butter.
That sounds a little. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
But yes, they were like, yo, this needs to exist. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know.
And that was awesome. Yeah. Everyone in that world, you know, took me in, and everyone who was around were like, yo, like as soon as the Quicksand thing came up, we're super pumped. And that's rad. You know, now it's like, I feel as though for me, I'm getting information now from two different groups and mindsets, and then I can bring like what I learned to each other.
And how do you feel like kind of having those two collaboration groups what has that done for your kind of musicianship and kind of your choice around your tone, especially?
I think it's like finding space for in both bands, like because they're different sonic landscapes. You know, now Quicksand existing as a trio is like there's more space, and with Deftones having what is it, like 5 voices, you know, and creating sonic space is a thing, and it's just like what they've both brought is just in presenting ideas, just kind of like, I don't ever have an idea and say, oh, like shop them to both. You know, like I don't like
hey guys, no, okay. Yeah.
It's like, it'd be like, oh, here's Deftones hat. And then you think with that in mind. And then like Quicksand. And think with that in mind there. And as they've developed, it's cool because they really bring out different things. And I think how they've both informed me is like, if I'm not presenting an idea, but if someone has something like a riff or something, it's quick to just react. You know, I've always been an active listener. Both bands are really good at jamming. Anyone can like come up with anything and other people can really jump on it. But, you know, like let's say like playing guitar with Stefan is completely different than playing guitar with Walter because of the tones. Walter and Chino's guitar playing are nothing alike, but they're similar in tone as singers, because they have a musical approach. They have like a lyrical approach to guitar playing. You know, like the things they play are a certain way. And with Stefan, it's fun because he plays 8 strings or 9 strings, and it creates different. It creates. Sometimes he's like really low, and I can play high to create, you know, more melodic phrases, and it just creates different opportunities. But they both, you know, they both bring certain things, and they all like, I'm playing with, what is it? 4 other people too. So that's like 6 people that all have developed a unique voice. And it's fun.
Hard to do in music.
That's the hardest thing to do, and like to be like, wow, you know, like, you know, if Abe's playing drums, you know, if Alan's playing drums, and that's pretty rad.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's just like, and for me, I realized that sometimes I just don't have to overthink it. I just kind of like just do me, because I have managed to develop a voice, and thankfully, you know, like, so if I just do me in both bands, they're not going to sound the same at all, because they're interfacing off of other people, and they're like the push and pull, and, you know, like if you come up with a part, and, you know, let's say in either band, they can suggest how to improve the part or how to improve the song idea and take it somewhat place. So let's say, you know, sometimes on YouTube, I see 1 sample for producers, you know, like it's not going to be the same. You know, so at first I would be like, oh, I need a Deftones Sergio and a Quicksand Sergio. Just like, just be me. And
exactly, 100%. Because you're going to be listening. That's the whole point of a great jamming band, is you're listening and engaging, right?
Be me, come up with parts. You know, the one thing that's off limits is pitching ideas back and forth. I think that's terrible. For me, that is terrible.
Quicksand, and you're gonna.
No, that's just terrible. That is terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know why.
That's not even your person. That's impossible for you. It's not even your personality. You're just too like
it's more
natural.
It's more where like I have an overabundance of ideas, like a lot of people, and it's more that they just die, and they could be cool, but they just die, and I'm cool with that. You know, even like it's very. If something didn't make the last record, you're not going to try to repitch it for the next record. It's just because you're not even that person.
I think you should email those files to me. You know that exists.
There's plenty of demos. There's plenty.
All right. Go ahead.
Koi, was a Gore or something. They're probably like 50 song ideas.
Goodness gracious.
Because they come fast. It's like starting.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Starting an idea is easy.
No,
but for anyone starting it, the challenge is bringing it home. You know,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
And I think that was like Dave Grohl said that. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. Getting that spark. Yeah, that's like a dime a dozen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So let's say inspiration is a spark, right? What do I do? How do I keep inspiration going once I have it, either like in a short window or over the course of maybe a couple of few days, a month? I feel like I'm inspired. You know, what do you do to kind of fan those flames for yourself?
I think it's that's where the Chris Trainer advice comes in, is like, you just get up and turn on your machine and don't think of it as some spiritual pursuit. It's like, it's just kind of like, it's very blue collar. And in that, you know, it can elevate. But starting, you know, I think one of my biggest mistakes early on was thinking that it came like spirit down.
Right.
But it's all just kind of intertwined. So you just get up and turn your freaking machine and you put in a couple of hours a day.
Boom.
And maybe some days, and if you don't beat yourself up if you can't get to it, you know, have some, you know, everyone has a phone for the most part. If you have an idea, just record it on your phone and email it to yourself, or don't, or just keep it. And every day, just plug away, and don't. Nothing's that precious.
What does that mean?
You know, it's like,
what does that mean?
It's like ideas just aren't that precious. They're just like the song at the end is, but the starting point isn't. So I kind of like, I've said it a bunch now, but I don't think to you, but like, instead of thinking of an idea as like a human baby, it's kind of like you're like a turtle. You're just laying a bunch of eggs on the beach. You know, have like 100 eggs and 3 survive. Couple get eaten.
Darwinian approach.
Couple get eaten. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of changing that, even though it's kind of funny, but it's like that kind of really helps me, because it's not like, oh, I have this idea. If it doesn't make it to a song, I failed. It's like, it doesn't matter. It might not be its function. You know, lay down 100 ideas, too many ideas, use them to inform each other. Some of them sound the same. It's okay. You can have 5 songs that sound the same. Just don't release them all. Just, you know, like take the best one and use them to, you know, like use them to inform each other. So if you get stuck in an idea, move on to another idea. If you're getting burnt, just step away.
I think that's great advice. That's great advice.
You know,
go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay. You know, I wanted to kind of talk a bit about some of the last record, and I want to kind of really get your kind of take on where you guys are right now, where you are kind of in your kind of musicianship. You know, why Ohms, and how do you feel that it's maybe different than other stuff you've done?
I think, well, the beauty of a collaborative band is you're going to get 5 different stories, you know, and 5 people are going to be bringing in whatever their thing is and whatever they're trying to achieve. And everyone has their own personal agenda musically, and you throw it at each other, and then what lives is like what everyone's excited about. And in that regard, I think Stefan says it good. It's like, it's not anything too crazy or deep. It's just like a snapshot of where everyone is at that time. So like, if you do it a year earlier or a year later, you're not going to have the same ideas, because you're just, you know, it's whatever's going on. Everything's moving and constantly in flux, and you just catch that. And there's really
what do you mean by that? Maybe let's say I didn't understand what you just shared. Unpack it.
I guess wherever everyone individually is at that time. Let's say like in a simple sense is like, okay, Stefan got a 9-string guitar. He's going to be really like focused. One of the things he wants to do is make sure he has ideas on his new guitar. It's bringing out new ideas.
Absolutely.
Right? If you did it a year early before he had that guitar, you wouldn't have those ideas. You know, if you do it a year later, maybe he's like somewhere else with it. You won't have those ideas. Chino has some new pedals that he wants to try. You know, they're brand new. It's like kid with a new toy. There you go. Ideas. You know, that's kind of what I mean. Like I have whatever I'm going, you know, like I have a new bass, I have a new tuning, I have a new something. So it's like, cool, this is where it's at. And then that's kind of it. You know, like there isn't a deeper layer to it, but I think
that in and of itself is deep, because what it's a testament to is there's 2 things that come to mind for me real quick. One is the fact that you guys are so collaborative, right? And that you're also able, right? So what that means for me, like if I'm thinking about you guys, you going down to wherever you guys are, you know, right, do your pre-production, and you guys actively have these new toys to play with, they're going to become, not only, sonically a part of it, but they're going to become a part of the whole process itself. They're going to inform maybe the songs. They're going to inform all of it. And that's a very dynamic way of looking at making a record.
I mean, I think that's kind of where I think that the profound things are in things that aren't necessarily so conceptual. It's just actual.
100%.
And then even so like at home, I'm at home and like, I hear something that a band I hadn't heard before, and then I go, wow, it's exciting, picking pattern, and then turn on my thing and then make a quick demo, send it out, and then like, oh, that's exciting, here's what then everyone else's agenda comes and morphs and twists that, and then you have a song. Or
that's amazing.
Abe has a new drum kit.
That sounds fun, right?
Samples. Yeah, it's just not a lot. It's cool because I think sometimes people feel like you sit down in the beginning and say, here's our thing that we're going to achieve. And, I've seen like, we've been asked questions about the philosophy of using different tunings than each other. It's like, it's like there isn't one, and they don't want to hear that.
What's the philosophy that you're not, we all know there's a philosophy to the pedal, Sergio.
Who decided to use different tunings? It's like, it's the absence of that.
Yes, living in the moment, being in the moment.
And then, the agenda for both projects with Quicksand and Deftones is that it has to get past everybody and they have to be excited about it. And if they're excited about it, and the thing about, I think, what's cool about Deftones is like, it gave me the perspective of like, hey, if it gets past the five of us, we like it, we are excited to share it.
Pretty decent.
That's about it, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. Not a lot of like, oh, well, people like it or what. It's just like, there we go. We're done.
I love that. Dude, and that's so fucking organic. That's so fucking
it's
organic.
Fun. And it's, those things aren't always easy because everything is like, it's where, you go back to the thing of like, all right, here's your initial idea. Here's your thing. We got an A part, a B part. How do you bring it home? And then, but it's like, you can group think it, so that's cool. Other, people can come up with their own solutions, and then you bounce them off each other, so it's great. And then with Quicksand, it's like, it's similar, except for that there's just three of us. And we happen to like, we live closer to each other. So, that's a little easier. That aspect of it is easier. You don't have to you don't have to make a plan to meet up. Got it.
All right. I'm going to take it to a bit of kind of more just a non-musical, just kind of Sergio thing. Like what's a life lesson? We talked about life lessons earlier. What's either a life lesson or something that you kind of learned, recently or not, but something that maybe you might want to share that might help somebody going through something?
I don't know. I think, I don't know. I don't know if I have life lessons. I think the things that I've learned in life is like not to be too, being overly conceptual isn't always good.
Okay, so don't think about anything. Is that like,
no, think, but just be kind of grounded in your thoughts. Like a lot of the things that we're kind of talking about are like being overly pretentious. That's the simplest word. Don't take things. You don't need to. Pretension is fun, properly used. It's like and it adds spice to things. But sometimes it's like the simple things can be very profound, and just like being grounded is profound, and being present. Being present is profound. Like I find often when people remember things better than me, it's because I probably wasn't fully present. And it's something, like it's a home conversation we have sometimes, because like my retention's bad, and sometimes like talking about people, I was like, wow, I might not even really been there. I might have physically been there, but being present is cool. You miss out on a lot.
Do you do any kind of meditation practices or kind of breath practices to kind of maintain that?
Not particularly. I guess I think I just try to be like, what's the word? Like, there's a word for it now. Not now, but there's a where you're like,
what's the word now?
I know there's something that people. There's a term, but it's escaping me.
Correct.
So basically,
YOLO is that the term that you were?
Yeah, YOLO or FOMO. But basically, like just being aware. Like, so if I, find myself like
these are very Buddhist. You're using these very Buddhist sounding terms: awareness, being present. Right? These are all
just being present. Yeah, like that kind of in the moment. Yeah, like very Ram Dass. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
be here now.
Be here now. It actually matters because you realize that you're actually present. You're actually part of the fabric of what's going on, and that actually builds better friendships and things and better relationships. Because
I've learned the hard way.
Yeah, people generally are fairly good, and if you're there and you're intertwined with them, you're better for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I work on that.
I think on that note, I'm going to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Because there's a lot. We could do a part 2. We never even talked about our lit years. That's going to be part 2.
Oh shit! Who am I standing with right now?
Brion Starr here.
Oh damn! You got a street named after you?
Yeah.
Let's take a walk. Let's swap sides. That's what's up. So wait, where are we right now?
We are in Maria Hernandez Park.
Maria Hernandez Park.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've been here before.
Yeah, I come out here a lot for Alphaville when it first opened.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
love that spot. Shout out to Scott.
And tell me about. I know. Like you're a nightlife dude, and we're gonna cover some shit like that. But let's talk about how'd you end up in nightlife. I know that you were a street kid for a while. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was like living on the street when I was like 15, 16, downtown. Ended up hanging out with a lot of older, cooler kids who got me gigs DJing.
Wow.
At different places. Miss Shapes was one of them.
Miss Shapes was dope.
Sophia Lamar helped me out a bit. Getting me into some spots, and that's how I made some money to survive for a while.
Boom. All right, so you street kid making money to survive. You knew about punk and hardcore at that time, yes or no?
Yeah, I was definitely involved in the hardcore scene when I was younger. Definitely helped me out as well, having some place to go and music to see and things to do.
Absolutely, people to jump on and shit like that.
ABC No Rio a lot when I was little.
That's what's up. All right, so like, how do people? Because I know like. I like a lot of alt music, and that's one of the reasons that you're on. I'm saying alt. I'm just being lazy with like.
Yeah, I feel you.
What kind of genre what do you call yourself? What genre?
I would definitely say that we venture into a lot of like those kind of 90s alt rock sounds, but we also do kind of a 70s art rock thing and mix it up together.
Yeah.
And then I think the main objective is to, with every record, sort of change style, change genre a bit. Have it feel like a natural evolution, but explore a lot of different types of music.
I thought you said change. I said change it. Because you worked with... you worked with Toni Visconit, who was a big-time producer for who?
Yeah, for David Bowie. We just finished mixing and doing some post-production on our record that's going to come out later this year.
Booyah.
Yeah. I'm really excited about
What's the name of the record?
A Night to Remember.
Why not a week?
Yeah, just one night.
You short of time?
Oh man, yeah. No. Every day.
Speaking of short of time, I mean, like, this is something that I ask a lot of people when I'm just kind of hanging out with them. Let's just go straight and shit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like we all have a limited time here. We're obviously thankful for every day.
Yeah.
What's a lesson or some shit that like you've learned just from your time, be it any time in your life, what's a lesson you've learned that you want to kind of fucking share to people?
I mean, I've had a real big awakening the last 2 years where I guess just to really take care of your friends and be there for them, and that's like all you got in this world. Like you were saying earlier, your chosen family.
Yeah.
And I've been really, really, really feeling that, especially this last year with everything that's going on,
Wow, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I was just thinking about that before I came here. So
that's mad deep, right? Because there's so much. We're walking around Brooklyn, so we're getting that wonderful ambiance. Is that electronic band?
Yeah, I don't know.
They actually sounded cool.
Yeah, it sounded pretty cool.
But there's been a lot for us to try to work through, kind of mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
And like Mr. Starr said, you got to definitely check in on your friends and
Yeah, all the time, as much as you can, and obviously look after yourself as well. But
that was my next thing. How do you look after yourself? How do you make sure you're doing it right?
I just try to make routines for myself, really.
What does that mean? Make a routine.
Like make sure that every day I sing a little bit. Make sure that every day I, do certain things. I mean, for me, it's like, I have a bit of a ritual in the morning with making myself a coffee and reading a bit before I pay attention to like my phone and that shit. And I follow it as closely as I can. Sometimes I wake up and I got shit to do, but it's trying to just stay focused in that way that allows you kind of, for me at least, to have like, it stabilizes me a bit, you know what I mean?
Or what do you say for people that are like, yeah, I mean, congrats, you have a routine. Like I have the same routine and I'm bored of it. Like
yeah.
What might you share to somebody that has that kind of feeling?
I mean, I think it took me a while to find one that worked for me, and it's just about like trial and error, I think. Just
exactly.
Trying to figure out what works for you.
And that's the hard part, realizing that, I got to fucking spend some time on this.
Yeah.
I have to spend some time on relaxing.
Yeah.
I have to spend some time on breathing.
Yeah.
And it sounds so stupid, but like, that's my main focus right now.
Yeah.
Like, just being like, what's up with my breathing?
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? It sounds like basic as fuck, but...
Well, when I was a kid, I went through, a bit of some trauma when I was a little one, and, I kind of somehow accidentally fell into meditation. And that I kind of did it because I thought like I had read it was like good for you or something. And
you read some propaganda.
I tried it and it ended up working, and that's always been a bit of a part of my routine to such a degree that like I don't even really think about it anymore.
Nice. When did you try music? When did you try music? When did you try that for the first time?
I was in like a sort of noise punk band for the first time, like when I was like maybe 15 or 16.
Oh shit! What was it called?
We were called Is This Real? Named after the Wipers album.
I like that.
Yeah, it was a great time. We toured the States and stuff, and it was super eye-opening for me. So that was probably my first real effort at music. Yeah.
And before we have to end, because I didn't get a chance to speak to you, tell me about the record. What do you like about it? How to get produced? Like,
oh man,
give me tidbits.
Yeah, the record. A Night to Remember is going to be like...
Wait, say again?
A Night to Remember is going to be... basically, the last 3 records we've done are sort of like really diving into the sort of art rock sound. And sort of the glam 70s vibe with a little bit of like... Sort of like, alt rock.
You say art rock. What is art rock? Picasso? Like you listen to rock when you paint pictures? What is art rock?
Like Roxy Music and like kind of... Like just the glam scene in the 70s, into the 80s with bands like Wire and stuff, like art punk, like they're kind of all drawing from the same inspiration, like Brian Eno and stuff like that.
Which Eno records you think specifically?
Definitely Taking Tiger Mountain by Storm is like a huge one for us. But yeah, so sorry, Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy. I don't know why I said that.
No, it's okay.
I was just watching a war documentary actually.
Sorry about that.
Actually, not a war documentary. You saw that new Adam Curtis documentary?
No.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. It's so crazy. But yeah. So the direction of those albums was really much in the sort of guitar rock vein.
So it's guitar rock Eno.
Yeah. And the next album is way more in the vein of like sort of like a dark funk disco-y kind of vibe. A lot more dancey. I mean, there's still those sort of art rock elements, but we're definitely going into a different direction for sure.
What's the name of the band again?
Brion Starr.
Oh shit! You're like, fuck this. I'm just calling it me.
I'm just calling it me.
This
man.
shit. This me. It's me, as it's often said.
It's partly like part of the reason why I get a lot of work done, because I take the responsibility to just get it done. I never thought naming your band after yourself was cool.
I get a lot of slack because I don't get slack, but people joke and say that I somehow don't get the slack that others might get for wearing their own band shirts. And I just tell people like, I'm wearing this because me and my friends made it and I fucking like it. You know what I mean?
You got that Burn shirt. I always see people wearing that Burn shirt.
I love those shirts.
Yeah, man.
I love those shirts.
That's a great logo.
All right, so, we're not going to talk for fucking until the fucking sun goes down.
No.
But I do want to get a few quick things from you.
Yeah.
All right, like right now during quarantine.
Yeah.
A lot of couples are bugging out. It's hard to stay together.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What are you and your lady doing to keep shit popping in your relationship right now?
Oh, wow. Well, I guess, we kind of just started seeing each other.
Okay. So there's still a honeymoon period?
Some freshness to it, yeah.
Romantic.
And also,
she doesn't know your secrets yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
I know.
She knows just a few. But we're definitely taking it easy and slow, and that's cool. I haven't ever really had a chance to do that in my life, and I really am.
When you say slow, do you mean no sexy?
Not exactly. I mean, like, just taking time to really just spend time together and not worry about the city so much, because what's there to worry about? Not worry about.
So does that have you guys? All right, so you're not having sex. That's fine. You know, it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. So do you at least get out of town with her and do some traveling, or?
Well, I hope so. I think she's kind of living in California, so I might go out there and hang with her there.
Where have you? You know what? You're just so fucking. I just because I know you, but I feel like you've lived in Cali at some point.
I definitely spent a lot of time there a few years ago. People thought I lived there, but I would go for like 2 months and then come back for 3 weeks and then go back for 2 months. And
why do so many girls, hot girls, follow you on the fucking gram? How do you know these people?
Oh, they just follow. They just follow.
They just follow. What are you, fucking Bono?
Build it and they will come.
Okay, well, this is supposed to be a family show. It's supposed to be a family show, but you got to do what you got to do.
What you got to do.
I love lyrics. You love lyrics. We all fucking love lyrics.
Big time.
I need to know right now on this new record,
yes.
Right? Because I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna spend some time with it.
Yeah.
I know you just made a video, right?
Yes.
And I thought the one video I saw was dope.
The All My Friends one, yeah.
Exactly. And now you just made another video today, no?
Yeah, we made one last night for a song called Wild Time. It's gonna be all night vision.
Oh shit. So did you hire ex-CIA?
No, we straight up did it ourselves. I found this old camcorder in my room and I have no idea how it got there. And it has night vision, so I was like, let's do this.
That sounds really fucking convenient.
Let's do this.
I think this motherfucker is a fed. Night vision. All right. So yeah, you made the video.
Yeah.
But I want a lyric.
A lyric.
What's a lyric? What's the Brion fucking Starr lyric that's gonna make everybody watching this shit pause the tape, stop the record?
The next record, I was just thinking about a lyric, and it goes out to my friend Andrew. It's shine bright, shine long, shine on. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's the one.
I like that. I think that we should all remember that.
Remember from the next record, I hope.
And keep your friends. I think the one thing that I take away from this kind of walk and talk with Chaka Malik, that's me.
Yeah.
Is that our friends are fucking important.
On the beat with Chaka Malik.
Yeah. On the beat with Chaka Malik is the other one. But yeah, the one thing that your friends are important. And I mean, I love talking to my friends, but I can talk to my friends without putting this shit on the motherfucking internet.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm putting this shit on the motherfucking internet is so the ideas and shit, the vibes that we fucking share, they can resonate.
Yes.
So they can come the fuck back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also so people can say, hey man, this is how I live life.
Yes.
So they can say, this is how I do things. So I guess we're back where we started.
Yo, who am I sitting with right now? Who am I sitting with right now?
It's your boy Heck. Heck one.
Heck
what are you
one.
doing, man?
I captured Heck. I threw my net out for Heck. I was trying to capture somebody that's important in their community, somebody that is doing something worthwhile, something fun, using their talents, being collaborative. Now, I say I captured you doing those things. Walk us through some of the stuff you're doing with some of the local vendors and how you're using your art and their amazing products just to make shit poppin' in your area.
You know what? I really like to tie into the local community and lend any sort of help I can to Huntington Beach or Orange County, in general, but specifically my town. Our mom and pop shops are the backbone of our community, and sometimes, they need some love, they need some help. So if we can, and I say we, me and my friends, if we can lend some sort of support to drive business, to drive people to their businesses, to keep them sustaining, then that's what we do. And we love doing it. We love gassing up our local businesses. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you've used some of your kind of passions aesthetically for these contributions. Like, what can you share with us about kind of what iconography you've chosen to kind of utilize and kind of your tattoo style and how it kind of comes into play in this area? We've done art shows. We've done collaborations with local companies. Bounced Unpack that. And what companies? What are the collabs?
Let's say like the downtown businesses. HSS Service Sport. A buddy of mine did this 9-foot mural of a shark. During some downtime to get people to the downtown area to support, to spend money. Local businesses like 25 Degrees, HSS, Gallagher's, and things of that nature. So we drive people down there to look at this mural, and while they're there, like, hey, let's grab a bite to eat. Let's go shopping. You know what I mean? Like, let's spend some money while we're here to see this thing that me and the homies created. So
he's creating attractions now. You've been doing some labels and stuff like that. Share some of that with us.
Labels as far as what we had spoke about earlier.
Well, we spoke about. I don't know you. This is all brand new for me too.
So I really enjoy doing collaborations with small businesses, like I stated before. So I have a homie who has a hot sauce company. Does a lot of really awesome stuff in town. Reached out to me and really enjoyed my twist on some Star Wars art that I've been doing lately. And we're gonna do great. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like hot sauce? You know what I'm saying? And Star Wars. I mean, it's a winning combination. It's a twofold. And using whatever my ability is to put on his product to once again to drive sales and get people to either his Instagram page or his website or things of that nature. So I'm always, I hardly ever turn down anything, if it comes from people helping,
What's the quality of the products that you're putting your artwork on? Is it like shitty quality, okay quality, the best? How would you describe it?
Pretty much I'm not fucking with anything like subpar, you know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
If we're doing the design for, a t-shirt or somebody, wants something specific that I do, then I want to make sure that, first of all, I fuck with you, right. I want to know what you're about. You know what I mean? Yes. Like if you're also down to support and you're down to, to throw charities and raise money and just give back to the community, then I'm fucking with you. You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
Absolutely. So there's a kind of a tribe-ish kind of thing happening, right?
Right. Where absolutely.
One hand washes the other and just one hand supports the other. Just, similar ideals, similar thoughts, a similar kind of outlook on life. And part of that is that desire to put out something of quality, because we are talking about folks that are in business, right?
Right.
There's a business component, right? And hopefully, you want to make your product, so great that folks have to come back to you because you're the only place that has the thing done this well, right? Exactly. So I think it's amazing to couple now amazing art with a product that's top notch. I feel like you're creating a real hub, a real community, where there needs to be some community right now. Right. Just from talking to you back and forth on the gram, you mentioned that you and your lady Holly put together, areas of your house to really kind of create these nice zones during like quarantine. Like, I know you've been busy during quarantine, but what can you share about how you've made some changes in your home to try to create a better environment for you guys?
First and foremost, we knew during the lockdown that we were going to have to spend some time in our home. So, we took the time to make some modifications and make our house really a home. Like, all the stuff behind me wasn't here. Holly was like, all right, check it out. We're going to build this awesome outdoor patio area. And, since we spend, the most amount of time, here, we decided to make this comfortable as possible. And also a huge modification to my backyard is built a half pipe for my son back here.
Tell us about that and tell us what that means in terms of making your house kind of a hub in certain senses.
You know, we love having people over. We love having a space for kids to come chill out, to have a good time. No judgment. We don't give a fuck. You know what you're into.
I see you judging some of the kids that weren't that great. No.
That was my kid, by the way.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No judgments. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, but you know, we want to provide a space for kids and teenagers and young adults to hang out and to vibe. You know, we built this bitchin' ass half pipe, right? We got music in the backyard. We have an outdoor projector. We do movie nights.
Grilling back there too, aren't you? You're grilling.
What's that?
You're grilling. You got stuff on the grill, kebabs or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, we cook all kinds of food. Yeah, I don't eat meat. But I don't. I'll throw down the barbecue. I'll do vegetarian stuff, vegan stuff. If you want to eat steak, cool. We just put it together, and like I said, like we really enjoy the house being like a hub for people to like chill out. Like you don't, have a place to go. You want to kill a couple hours? Come skate, dude. There's always beer on tap. Dude, come fuck with us. No, I'm serious.
I've seen in some of your pictures on the gram the beer. Do you have a beer? Do you have a tapped keg, a keg tap? I don't know how you say it. Do you have like one of those at your actual tattoo parlor? Where do you tattoo out of? What's that like?
Sure. So our tattoo shop is located about a mile from Huntington Beach, from the actual beach.
Nice.
We used to have a kegerator there, which was mine, but during COVID, we took a couple months off to basically renovate the shop. So I was able to
bring the kegerator to yours.
What's that?
You brought the kegerator to your house, didn't you?
Oh yeah. And then instead of one tap panel, I put two tap panels because
wow.
I like to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to have a good time, and the more beer, the better. But yeah, the tattoo shop's been there for I think we had our 15-year anniversary. I've been there for 10 years. Yeah, for sure. Before that, I was down the street at another tattoo shop. So this is my 20th year of being a tattooer. Wow. And it's afforded me this. I don't want to say this life that I have, but it really has this life of leisure and being able to come and go as I please, to make my own hours.
Even with a wife, you're able to come and go as you please?
Hold on. Yeah. We have guidelines. We have rules. We respect each other's boundaries, I come and go as I please. Holly wants to go out with the girls. Go. You have fun. Like this whole thing about marriage of having to be like attached at the hip. Nah, man, we enjoy time with each other as much as we enjoy times with our friends. You know what I mean? Like they're two separate things.
Healthy balance.
Absolutely. A complete healthy balance. Correct.
What would you share? Do you have any advice for couples that are in quarantine right now? Like kind of, the same way I get tired of myself and I live by myself. I mean, what can you share with folks that might be kind of battling, being like, oh, I'm stuck in this house and I love my girl, but she's annoying, or I love my boy. But like, what can you share to them that might help them?
What's amazing, dude? Like, when we both get home, we start cooking dinner. We have our dinner time together, and then check it out. I go to my room to watch Netflix and YouTube videos, and she sits out on the front couch and watch, Real Housewives or whatever, or, whatever, series is on. It's like, we don't have to hang out 24/7. I think that's what's awesome. It's like even in the home, we give ourselves space, and I'll be in my room drinking beer. She'll come in, take a couple puffs. I'll go out there. Hey, babe, do you need anything? Or vice versa. You know what I mean? It's like, it's still even in the house, like we chill, but then we don't always have to chill. And I think that's what we got to a point, we've been together for 25 years and, it comes to a point, like I said, we really enjoy spending our time together, but we really enjoy our time apart from each other, if that makes sense,
Speaking of time apart, just because I haven't seen her in the photos and I wanted to talk about this, you've come up with this, I don't know if it's an attraction or if it's I don't even know what it is, but you have this thing called the Quarantine Cruise. Tell me how that happened, and kind of walk us through it, 30 seconds, how you got to the point where it began to grow. And then when it kind of started to blow up, then like expand out from there.
Yeah, sure. So, this was a hard lockdown. Two of the homies came by the house like, hey, let's go for a cruise. So we went down for a cruise, PCH. Hey, man, I've never seen the city so empty. It was eerie, man. I mean, you're in a big
New York City's crazy.
Yeah, but Pacific Coast Highway, that's my crazy dog over there. But hey, Blue, over here. We ran into some dude who was just grabbing content and wanted to know if we want to do some stuff together. Nice. 3 cars turned into 50, 50 turned into.
How did they find out? How did they find out? How did the cars after the 3 find out?
Yeah, so basically just taking to social media. You know, we hooked up with a couple of guys within our core group of the Quarantine Crews. I mean, collectively, maybe 5 million followers between all of us. You know, and
shout them out real quick. Shout the first original kind of heads out.
So it was me, Week to Wicked Jason, Big Sean, and then we met up with Patrick from Keystone Automotives, and then Ken, who runs Classic Dailies on Instagram. And together as a unit, we all do something particular for this group. And that's how we got 3 cars to 3,000 cars. You know, our last cruise was probably a good 2,500 cars, and we start at a specific donation, and people spend their money in that center, right? And then we do a drive, bro. You ever seen 1,000, 2,000 cars in a line going 15, 20 miles to the next location to meet up to gas up the other businesses and spend money and talk and hang out. And I feel like it came at a time.
Wow, that sounds so beautiful.
It came at a time where people were just bored out of their mind, and they just needed to get out and just the thing about living in Southern California, even in December, it's 80 degrees outside.
Oh, just stop it right now.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But yeah, so we've gotten national coverage. Hot Rod Magazine, all of these big publications were coming out to witness this phenomenon that basically came out of boredom, and then now people are just
wait. Say that again. It came out of where? Say it again.
This initially came out of fucking boredom. We're fucking bored as fuck.
And I highlight that shit because I see it all the time on the gram. Bored. I'm bored. And when Heck gets bored, he starts a fucking quarantine cruise with a bunch of his homies.
Right. And exactly. Exactly. If you didn't use this time to fucking do something productive or start, something, like a car cruise or a small business or, use the time. It's like you just wasted this whole year. And, I get some of us are built differently. You know what I mean? But man, I really hope a lot of you, really use this time wisely to start a band, like start a podcast. You know what I mean? Yes. Like paint your motherfucking ass off. You know what I mean? Like start video blogging. Like I have so many homies that started so much rad shit out of fucking boredom, fucking bored off their fucking ass.
There you go. Just real quick before we end, I want to talk a bit about what I jealously am calling that SoCal life, which is what I see you living, and the kind of community that kind of community that you can afford, in the sense that when you have great weather, right, and when you have the traction of a half pipe, you have a grill, you have a tap, and you have this broad group of friends, like. Closing us out, what does that all feel like to you? Like, how important is having that available on the day-to-day?
It really, kind of gets me through the day. You know what I mean? Like when you wake up, the sun is out, you get to take a walk on the pier or the beach, or, you just get out, you get to drive your car. We love to fucking drive, the shit out of our cars. It just, you wake up. And like I said, it's today, I think it was like 80 degrees, and the sun was out, and it's motherfucking February, it's like we have a shit ton of things to be thankful for in that Southern California lifestyle. When I travel, and say I've been to New York, and be like, oh, you must be fucking from California. You're fucking laid back as shit. I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of how we roll out in California. Like, whenever we get, I'll get there when I get there, or kind of dragging my feet, dragging my ass. It's just like, I'm running 18 minutes late. I'll be there. And everybody's like, yeah, it's cool. Take your time. It's like, it seems like we're never in a rush to do anything. And, that's Southern, that Southern California lifestyle, So Huntington Beach specifically, we're in shorts and fucking flip-flops for the most of the year,
If you were, all right, close us out. Then this is the real closeout. If you were in New York City, how could you still have that kind of SoCal tempo? What would you do to make sure you maintain that without the weather or without the backyard? What would you do?
It's also like, the attitude that I carry everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like from California, it doesn't matter where you put me, dude. I'm going to be laid back as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I know shit be running fucking fast and hot as fuck in New York. You know what I'm saying? But like, hey, it's all good. You know, I'm always like, man, you know, cool.
There you go.
I missed the subway here. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll just walk, whatever, you know?
I like that. I like that. And that's the kind of attitude that I think that we all need to have, you know, let it go, right? In the midst of letting it go, look at how you can collaborate with your friends to create amazing things like, you know, some of this, you know, the quarantine cruise, you know, the product labels with local businesses, right? The amazing tattoos, you know, the half pipe for the kids, you know, that's the shit I'm talking about. And I think that's what makes, you know, me want to kind of fucking like talk to you and let people get to know more about you. And I'm excited to kind of see what you do kind of moving forward. And I hope that this quick conversation inspires people, right, to look at how they can kind of fill that empty space with something that might bring a benefit to them, you know, their community.
A small business. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I appreciate the chat, man. Stoked you reach out.
Yeah, yo, where and I'm gonna put up a card so people can see all the info, but just I want you to say it. Where can I find you? I know you got like 12 Instagrams, some of them involve socks. I don't know what this dude's on, but where do we find you? And then I'm turning this whole shit off.
Sure, Heck Tattoo, HEKTATTOO on everything. Facebook, Twitter, I might even have OnlyFans. I don't know. You can find that shit. Just Heck Tattoo, you'll find that shit. I promise you. Don't tell my wife.
Hey, we're Riot Stares. This is something we put together to honor the memory of our friend Izzy. These images don't do the time that we spent with him justice, but we hope that it captures a little bit of the joy that we shared by his side over the years. This whole week, we've seen an outpouring of love for Izzy from people all over the country that he met playing in this band, and hearing from people the ways that he showed them kindness or made them laugh has made this difficult time a little bit more bearable. Hold on to your friends. We love you, Izzy.
Wow! I'll be back.